Hey guys, all right, we're back. So I think there was an issue. I know a lot of you guys mentioned there was no sound. There's this weird thing, like when I go set up, it defaults to like the mic built into my laptop, and I've got an external mic here, and I always go in and change it, but sometimes it like resets itself back to the default mic. So hopefully the sound is better for you guys. Sorry about that. Okay, good. Thanks for confirming. My apologies. Technical details or difficulties onto it. Good. Okay. So I guess new stuff to talk about now that you guys can hear me and I'm not just miming stuff into the camera. So back from CES, all sorts of fun stuff. I've been posting videos about that all this past week. I've got a few more that I need to finish up with and then get back into kind of our normal stuff. So kind of some recent things that I want to go ahead and do dedicated videos on, but I can go ahead and share with you guys now. So the R3. You guys probably saw this on the forums. I posted stuff on Facebook and on my website and stuff. There's a new firmware update, 1.48. It pretty much addresses some of the issues that we saw with 1.46. There was a long delay on K-band where it could miss quick trigger shots. Any brief K-band alerts, there was a long delay on alerting to alerts. So 1.48 fixes that. So it's now really reactive on K-band again. Same thing if you enable TSF, the traffic sensor filter, or if you enable MRCD, the detector is now going to be very responsive even with those enabled. Fixes some laser falsing issues. I've noticed like testing it, it doesn't completely resolve them, but it should help with that. And then there was one other thing had to do with like seeing multiple alerts simultaneously and not like bouncing back and forth between them. So multiple alert improvements as well. So 1.48, that's out. There evidently have been some improvements when you enable TSF to filter out traffic sensors, but no improvements to BSM filtering. However, I'm curious, I'm not expecting this, but I'm wondering if the changes to TSF can actually kind of inadvertently help with the blind spot filtering as well. So that's something to test out just because they've made apparently some tweaks to TSF. And well, I guess now it's going to be closer to 1.37. So it'd be interesting to, now that it's available, to maybe test it out and see how it's faring for you guys. So no word as far as BSM updates, but that's kind of where we stand there. Yeah, R7 versus Max 360C. I want to talk about that as well because I've been kind of played around with that idea a lot. And well, speaking of which, the next one that I want to talk about is the updates that just came out for the 360 and the 360C. One of the biggest issues with these detectors has been kind of great detectors around the, across the board, but they can, they can lock up sometimes to where you can have it on the windshield, and when it's detecting radar, it'll just lock up and you won't know that it's pretty much disabled itself until you look at the screen and see something's weird and then like have to power cycle it. It's been tough for Escort to reproduce the issue and fix it, but they have released another firmware update. I think it's like their third one just for this issue, which seems to have really helped with the lockup issue. I've been testing it the past couple days. I haven't been able to recreate a lockup. I haven't heard any reports on the forums yet. It's been functioning normally, and it seems like the detector is much more reliable now. It's, again, only been a couple days. We may start seeing some lockups at some point, but so far this is really nice. And now I know a lot of people don't like Escort. They've been having their issues, yes, but honestly, I've been liking this detector more and more. It does a lot of things better than the R3 and the upcoming R7 does. Like, for example, the BSM filtering. I know you guys have been asking about that all the time. And no, Uniden still hasn't updated the BSM filtering, where on the Escorts, it's much better. The range isn't going to be as good as the Unidens, but for most people, it should still be fine. It'll have better BSM filtering. It's already got auto lockouts. It's got Bluetooth, which the Uniden doesn't have. It can display the speed limit on screen, which is also something really helpful. I like the mount better. And the Max 360 is $100 less than the R7 will be once it comes out. And so I think there's definitely a pretty strong case to be made for the Escort detectors over even the new Uniden R7. But I'm definitely excited for that one coming out. It's going to have better performance, of course, than the Escorts will. It costs less than the Max 360C. It does. It'll be $50 less. And if you don't need the Wi-Fi, which currently is still most people, yeah, the R7 is great. I just updated my Max 360C. It's in my car right now. It took like maybe 15 minutes or so to update. Whereas if you plug it into the computer, it can do it just a couple minutes. So it's actually a lot faster to do it with your computer. But oh, and also I guess another issue, if you want to update with your computer, there's still not Mac software for the Max 360C. So the only option is to update over Wi-Fi. So yeah, and burn-in. Hopefully the burn-in issues are resolved with the R7. Maybe they've got a different supplier for their OLED display. We'll have to see. But yeah, I'm excited about it. But I don't think it's, of course, it's going to be like the ultimate detector for everybody. I'm still wishing there was one detector that was universally the best in all areas with great range and BSM filtering and Bluetooth and customer service and build quality, just everything, you know, but there's still no detector that's out there. And of course, everybody, you guys are asking, what's the best radar detector out there? There isn't one that is the best for everybody in all areas. There's not one car that's the best for everybody. There's still not one radar detector. There's not one dash cam that's the best for everybody. We have different needs and all that kind of stuff. Did the R3 have burn-in issues? Yeah, one of the things is they've addressed this to some extent in some of the previous firmware updates. The OLED itself, the technology is susceptible to burn-in. So if you have the same thing on the screen for hours and hours on end, that can kind of burn into the display and stay there permanently even when something changes. For whatever reason, it wasn't as prominent of an issue on like Escort's displays and some of the other ones, but with Uniden's displays, it seems to be more of an issue. I think Radenso, they use one as well. I haven't seen it to be as big of an issue there. So I guess just something, whatever it is with the Uniden's displays, they can burn in. Mike, can we see your pup, please? I left my door. If you look right there, it's slightly cracked open. So if you see it suddenly open up, that's probably my dog running in back behind me, but he's upstairs right now, just hanging out there. So yeah. Max 360s, there's been updates for the lockup issues. So far, so good. Fingers crossed that it's actually resolving the issues and making the detectors more reliable. Just because they're expensive detectors, you know, you should be able to trust them. We have to, you know, be able to depend on this kind of stuff. R3 is displaying KA band. Cool. Yeah, and then of course the Radenso stuff. Great BSM filtering here too. Tiny little detector. It would be nice. I mean, I'm just kind of thinking about it like, well, Escort has a detector with arrows. The R7, it's going to be coming out. It's got arrows and auto lockouts. Escort's patent, I think it's in, what's it called? I think it's June when the patent expires, something like that, May or June. I forget exactly when this year, but yeah, Uniden, that's why they're going to be able to now come out with the detector with auto lockouts. It would be cool to see Radenso come out with the detector, add arrows, add auto lockouts, just kind of everybody working hard to make this ultimate detector. And they could do something awesome, you know, maybe since they're redesigning it, put a standard RJ11 power cable instead of the barrel connector. Great BSM filtering, like that could be awesome as well, you know? So maybe when that comes out, if Radenso wants to do a detector with arrows too, I'm definitely excited to see about that. So that could be another cool one as well. As far as Escort Live, you guys are asking about the new app. It seems pretty good from what I had a chance to just take a look at it. You know, it was still kind of, the app is still being developed and all. It's not fully ready yet. It comes out next month, but I really like the new options. It's stuff that we've been waiting on for years. They're kind of cloning Waze features, but they're adding some stuff like navigation and the maps can rotate and the alerts look better. And if you have a Max 360, the arrows will finally show up in the app, even though the detector has been communicating arrows ever since the detector first came out. Finally, they're updating the app to display that information. So I'm glad to see that there's updates. I think it was very much needed, but it's not anything revolutionary. One of the biggest things I'm hoping about, honestly, is having the detector be more reliable, or sorry, the app. I've been, again, running the 360 the past couple days just for, you know, testing the new lockup firmware update thing. And I'm still having issues with the detector reliably connecting to the app. A lot of times the app just will not connect to the detector and I have to go in and force close the app and restart it and all this kind of stuff. It's just not seamless the way that I want. And I'm hoping if they are completely rewriting the app and they're also including the, or they're also rewriting the connection stuff, I'm hoping that it just makes the detector more reliable and it just always works without me having to mess with it, which is kind of the whole appeal of the whole auto lockouts and everything just kind of works seamlessly, right? I want the app to work seamlessly too. So yeah. DFR7, any updates? The detector is being discontinued, so it's being replaced by the DFR9. So I'm not expecting too many more updates. If anything, I would expect to see more for the DFR8 and 9 than the DFR7. So yeah, I haven't heard anything as far as DFR7 updates. Maybe they will at some point. At least red light camera database updates, I don't know. But I would anticipate more coming on for the DFR8 and 9. The DFR6 seems to be almost completely gone at this point. I've seen maybe a couple people still have a DFR7 on Amazon or something, or a couple sites are discounting them and clearing them out kind of thing, but they're going to be gone soon. And I don't know how long the updates will continue there. Let's see. You observed the Escort connection issues on Apple and Android. It actually, I believe, works better on iPhone because iPhones are more standard. With Android, there's a lot more fragmentation, and Escort has more issues making them work across the board on a variety of different Android phones. So it's actually supposed to work better on iPhone than it is on Android. I'm an iPhone guy, so that's what I use, and it hasn't been perfect there either. And if that tells us anything, to put a positive spin on it, I'm really excited for the new version of Escort Live, and I hope that it resolves all these stupid connectivity issues that shouldn't have been an issue and that just need to work well. So that's my take on that. Escort, please. So I just want it to work well. Simple question or simple request, you know? Yeah. Napster. For cars and trucks that have 360-degree cameras, do you think companies like Blackview would add a black box recorder for existing cameras? I doubt they would be integrating into existing cameras. They want you to buy their cameras, right? And once you started integrating into OEM products, like they've got different communication protocols, and you're going to have such a small market if you can only work with like select Ford trucks or Lexus SUVs or whatever. They're trying to tap into a wider market. And what happens if the manufacturer changes their communications protocol or avoids the warranty because you're tapping into something and it messes up something with the computer? Like, I would be surprised if they want to tap into existing kind of OEM cameras. There could be a lot of issues, and they're wanting to, I guess, have as wide of a market as possible. So I would be surprised to see if they would do that and just throw a black box recorder. Although that would be a cool idea. I like the idea. Maybe somebody could do that, but yeah. Which custom installed detector do you recommend for Lexus ES350? I like the Radenso RCM and the Escort Max CI 360. Those are my two favorite custom installed ones. I've got videos available on them. You can take a look. I did it a couple months ago, best custom installed detectors. Watch that video and it goes over them. Those seem to be two of the best in terms of performance, BSM filtering, features, all that kind of stuff. Josh, have you tried the TMG laser jammers? Yeah, I haven't installed them. They're still sitting in down there. There's been some improvements there. Oh, I hear somebody coming down the stairs. Maybe he stopped. Let's see if my dog's coming. Yeah, there's been some improvements. Some of the latest test results have shown some issues with the TMG, unfortunately. And so they've been working on, there he is, right on cue. Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. Oh, and he brought his toy. That's cool. So there have been some improvements that they're working on to improve the reliability, and it's even having some issues with some of the legacy guns, which is weird. But yeah, they're continuing to update stuff, and I don't know. I've honestly lost a little bit of enthusiasm from TMG, just seeing some of the issues as far as the test results being posted on the forums. It's not quite at the level of reliability that I would, and consistently able to jam guns that I would want to see. It's very capable, don't get me wrong, but I've lost some confidence from seeing some of the test results. So I'm really hoping that they continue to improve stuff. And they've had some issues behind the scenes with people leaving, whatever stuff. So I'm still very hopeful, but I'm not as excited as I was initially with seeing, like, all the initial test results, and then we saw more and more come out. So I don't know. I still think it's really promising, but yeah. Okay, when will update 1.48 be available on Uniden's website? So it's already available on Uniden's website. If you take a look at the links that I've posted on Facebook or on my website or whatever, it'll take you right there. You're going to need to click the gray firmware button and scroll down, and you'll find the links to 1.48. The weird thing is if you try to search for the detectors, it'll still link you to 1.46. Don't search. Go to the main support page and click on radar detectors, and then click on firmware, and you'll see 1.48 there. So they still need to update all of their website, but it is on their website so long as you know where to look, which I know is a little bit confusing, and that's something that they can definitely improve upon. But yeah, so 1.48 is there. And then if you look at my article on my website, I also have direct links that I've put together, toward the very bottom of the site. And you can just click it and you'll get the update software for Windows or for Mac along with 1.48. So if you have a little trouble with the website, you just go to my site, and at the bottom, you'll find links there too. So 360C is the only option for motorcycle riders these days, and it has Bluetooth and helmet compatibility. Yes and no. I think the Bluetooth is awesome. I'm not a motorcycle rider, but I mean, a lot of detectors do have headphone jacks. I've seen people tie into that. So you can always throw in either plug into that or have the Senna or something that can plug in there. So there's ways of using other things. But yeah, if you want Bluetooth, you can, of course, have the detector talk to the phone, and then the phone duplicates the radar detector's alerts, and then the phone will output its duplicated audio alerts into your Bluetooth headset. So, yeah. Oh, good question. This is always fun to talk about. Cat in the hat. Do you fork out the cash for everything, or is it all donated for testing? It's a mix of both. In general, I like to buy stuff retail whenever I can, just so, oh, the manufacturer sent you a juiced unit. They sent you one that's not representative of retail. There's always that kind of concern and stuff. It hasn't happened so far to my knowledge. And we always, I'll test stuff that companies will send me. And then I'll always get like, whenever possible, I'll borrow other detectors from the forum. So we'll do tests with 5 R3s and stuff. And we'll see, like, do the ones that the manufacturers send us have the same level of performance as the ones that people buy? So I've had a whole mix. I've got, sometimes companies will send me stuff for free, which is great because I only have so much money. I'm not a YouTube millionaire yet or anything, so it would be nice to just be like wildly rich or something. But, when I get stuff for free or you guys loan me stuff on the forums or something, it helps me accomplish a lot more without having to spend the money for that. And that's really nice. So some of the things they are sent from the manufacturer. Sometimes they're production ones. Sometimes they're pre-production beta units. Sometimes they're retail ones that I purchased. Sometimes they're borrowed. Like, there's a whole mix of stuff. And I generally like to, say, is it a retail one? Is it pre-production? Did the manufacturer supply it? Is it thank you to so-and-so for sending me this retail unit that they bought on Amazon or whatever, I like to specify that kind of stuff. But yeah, it is a mix depending on whatever's appropriate or whatever. So. Is the BSM filtering on 1.48 not as good as 1.37? I don't know. And that's the weird thing because there's been no changes, none, to BSM filtering from 1.37 on. Uniden hasn't touched the filter, but I know a lot of people have reported differences. And so it's weird because if they don't change it, there's nothing to go back and undo to change to make it better. So I guess it's weird. But yeah, I mean, people are reporting whether it's related to TSF. I don't know. They've reverted. So you can go now with 1.48 and it has an older style TSF that doesn't have the delay. And apparently they've tweaked it as well. So maybe that'll have better BSM filtering. I honestly don't know, but yeah. Uniden, okay, give us the option to segment K-band on the R3. They do have a K-band narrow option. They don't have like segmentation. But yeah, they don't have truly K-band segmentation. I'd rather see like better filtering like Radenso does to actually filter it out than to do, hey buddy, come on up, than to do segmenting and like turn it off. I think segmentation is a bit of a hack or something. Hey, how's it going, buddy? You want to say hi? Say hi. Hi, everybody. Hi. He wants to lick my hand, of course. He loves licking my hands. But yeah, segmentation would be nice, but I think it's a bit of a hack, to be honest. So I'd rather see actually like better BSM filtering implemented to properly resolve the issue, Do you think the R3 can be downgraded back to 200 locations for manual lockouts and have 300 auto lockouts to equal 500? Okay, so this is a question related to the auto lockouts. To answer your question, no, I don't think that would actually help. If you think about the way auto lockouts work, and I talked about this in one of my videos, I think like the CES something. Auto lockouts have to remember not only the signals that you've locked out, but the signals that you haven't yet locked out. So every single automatic door opener and speed sign and blind spot false and police officer, everything. It needs to remember thousands and thousands of signals ultimately to see, like, do you see it again? Have you seen it once? When you came by next time, was the signal not there? Has it seen it multiple times? There's a lot of signals that it needs to store. And if the detector can only store 500 locations, that's not enough to do auto lockouts as well. There's just not enough memory built into the detector. So no, I think cutting away a few manual lockouts to add a few hundred auto lockouts wouldn't truly solve the issue. So that's why you need like more memory to store thousands of locations, which is what the detectors that can do auto lockouts actually do. So that makes sense. John Marshall Photography, have you posted your black view settings online? So it's a good question. I've thought about doing this from time to time of like posting, I do tutorials on radar detectors, but I haven't really done them on dash cams. And no, I mean, there's not a ton of stuff to tweak. It's like, I just leave the brightness on the defaults. And a lot of it comes down to drive around. Do you think it's too dark or too bright? Change the settings. Do you want motion detection? Do you want time-lapse recording? Choose the one you want. There's not really a ton of stuff that I guess needs to be tweaked. Set your Wi-Fi if you want. You'll have a different Wi-Fi password. I mean, there's not really a whole ton that I configure. I just set like maximum video quality and choose the features that I want, and that's it, So I've thought about it from time to time, but there doesn't really seem to be a huge need to do dash cam tutorials in that way. But yeah. Let's see, V16 Lifestyle, cool name. V16, not W16s. Do you think laser jammers, like, is it worth getting laser jammers on a truck? Yeah, I know a ton of people that do laser jammers on a truck. Maybe the two weird things would have to do with you've got a big front end, so you'll want at least 3 jammers on the front. So, 2 out and then 1 in the center. The toughest thing has to do with the rear because there's not a lot of good places to do the rear installs. Usually what I see people do is like it's down low under the, what's like the trunk door thing that it's called. It's usually like at the base of that. They do 2 heads kind of there and then a third like TX head in the center or something. So the placement, that's usually what people go for. It's not perfectly ideal, but it's kind of the best that you'll get. And I've seen people get jammed from gun, even from that setup. So yeah, you can definitely do it. There's a lot of installs. If you check on the forums, you'll see people do it and it works well. Tailgate. Thank you, Andy. I appreciate it. That's the word. Calvin, size comparison, Uniden R7 versus Max 360C. I don't have an R7. I will. So the one that you guys saw on video, that was like the only one in existence. It's not my detector. It was just the one that Uniden had that they brought to the show to display. So I had a chance to like hold it and, point a camera at it, do that kind of stuff, but I haven't tested it. I haven't run it. I didn't bring a whole bag full of radar detectors to do size comparisons. And so once I actually get one on hand, which we're being told is like mid to late February, once I do that, then of course, let's do size comparisons. Let's start putting it out on test courses. Let's see what the features are like. Let's run through the menu. I'll show you guys all about the detector, but I don't have one yet to like really go into all the stuff. Let's check the mount. Is it compatible with the R3 mount? Is it compatible with the blend mount? All that kind of stuff. Once I get one, I'll be able to do a lot more, but I don't have one yet to really go and like start playing with yet. So yeah, let's see, 1.48 updated. Cool. We can get it on February. No. So the one that I'm getting, it's going to be a, I think it should be production hardware. I'm not sure exactly how ready that'll be. Sometimes they do make last minute changes with stuff. And I don't think it'll be production software either. There's probably still going to change it. So it's going to be an early unit. They're expecting to release it for sale, I think like late March or April or something. The ones that we're getting, it's just for the beta testers to start as we're getting closer to production to do some more testing and give them feedback and start getting information to figure out and stuff. So yeah. Wonder if there'll be custom sweeps for the R7. I've played through the settings. I believe there is going to be a KA segmentation option, just like with the R3. I don't think it's going to lose any features that we've got with the R3. It just adds a couple things. So if we have it with the R3, it should also be available with the R7. Okay, video, log on. I'm going to RCM. Is there a setting? Oh, yeah. Okay. If you've got the RCM, the setting to ignore falses from Hondas, set it to TS reject high, TSR high, basically. If you set the filter to low or off, of course, or even low, you won't get the Honda filtering. If you want to filter out Hondas and Acuras, set the TSR filter to high. That's the trick for that one. I've got a tutorial on my website for the Pro M. I'm not sure if I've also done it for the RCM yet, but take a look on there and it goes over all the settings and stuff. And you should be able to use a lot of that stuff. And of course, it'll also apply to the RCM. That's also another video that I want to do is like a tutorial on how to set up the Pro M, especially after some of the latest firmware updates that have added some settings and changed things. I know they want to even change some stuff still, like the TSR filter. I think they're wanting to like split it and call it just the K-band filter because it's not really TSR. It's just lumped under that name, So they're wanting to maybe change some of that stuff. And that's always one of the tricky things is like, hey, let's do a video. But then a few months or a year or two down the line, stuff changes. And so my video gets kind of out of date. So I need to update it and stuff. Nice thing about the website, I can always just update that. But a video, I have to shoot an all new video. So yeah. Our radar detectors. Radar detectors are not radars, by the way. They're radar detectors. Radar guns and radar detectors. There's no radars. Our radar detector is sensitive to laser from the front and rear if mounted up high. If you move the radar detectors with the laser sensor farther away from where the laser gun is going to be shooting, it's going to be tougher to detect the laser signal. And so, yeah, I mean, the closer you are to the target area, the better it's going to do at actually detecting the signal. Of course, even if you get hit with a direct hit, okay, your radar detector alerts and, well, he already has your speed. So you still need laser jammers. But yeah, of course, radar detector sensitivity, a big factor is going to be how close it is to the area where the laser gun is actually hitting. So, which makes sense, right? Any word on Mike Valentine interview? Kind of. I've been talking to Radenso about actually heading up there to do like a video with them, like a factory tour or something, just kind of chatting with them about doing something. And one of the tricky things about Mike Valentine is figuring out a time when we're both in the same place at the same time. And I'm like, well, if I'm going to at some point go up there to meet with the Radenso guys, I could also meet up with Mike Valentine and do an interview with him too. There's no time or date or any of that kind of stuff scheduled. It's still just a matter of like, we need to find a time that works for everybody. But yeah, he's open to it. And I am too. I would love to talk to him and I would just love to hear him share his story about radar detectors and the evolution of how everything unfolded and working with Cincinnati Microwave and the Valentine 1 and the evolution of that. And what about the new patents? And I would love to chat with him about radar detectors. Like that would be awesome. So a lot of it just comes down to logistics and timing more than anything. So let's see. John Abella, anything out there worth looking at for a 4K single channel dash cam beyond the Blackview DR900S? I have seen some that also shoot 4K. There's more and more of those coming out. Sometimes the weird thing with 4K is it's not truly 4K. It's lower resolution, or it's like lower resolution, then they upscale it to 1080p. So you're not actually getting the proper 4K, or they're 4K, but at 15 FPS or something ridiculous like that. So there are more and more 4K ones coming out, but it's not always like a proper 4K. Something that I'm noticing, but I'm glad that there's more and more coming out. Even the simpler ones, even if you don't have all the bells and whistles of the Blackview with the parking mode and the Wi-Fi and the cloud and all that, if you just want high resolution recording, that's honestly something I need to do a little bit more research on, is to find some of the other options, which, yeah, that's okay, maybe another issue, another topic, but there's so many dash cams that it's actually hard for me to focus on all of them, especially since I'm focused on radar detectors primarily. That already like takes up so much of my time. And I'm like, man, I'm behind on testing all the dash cams and getting those videos out. And then want to do the Owl Cam and the Raven. And just, there's so much going on there that it's actually pretty tough for me to stay up to date on all of the thousands of options. Like it's easier with radar detectors since there's fewer options, but dash cams is actually pretty hard to cover everything. And even like I do the best dash cams videos, and I'm like, well, there's still a ton that honestly I just haven't tested. I don't know about. It's tough to like actually test all of them. So it's kind of the best that I've tested, the best that I've learned about so far. And there's, I'm sure, a lot of great ones that I haven't tested. So that's always a weird thing. Oh, hey, thank you, Albert. I love your videos. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying them too. I love creating. I love learning. I love just this whole growth for me personally and giving back to you guys. And it's fun. And my dog is down there being a little noisy, chewing on his toy, and it's like hitting my desk. So it's kind of being a little noisy. So, buddy, we got to make sure the audio is good for everybody too. Thank you. I use the Yi Ultra Dash Cam. Yeah, I've heard good things about Yi, Chinese company. They've got some higher resolution options now. Inexpensive. I know some of them have like a silver case, like the compact ones or something. I personally prefer the black ones that are less obvious. I like a little bit more low-key ones. But yeah, the Yis, those seem to be a good option. I haven't tested one myself, but that's the thing. There's so many dash cams, and honestly so many that are really good, that it's like, how do you really get into comparing all of them? Do you throw like 400 dash cams on your windshield, or maybe not that many, you got to actually see out, but like which one has a little bit better video quality, or the parking mode is a little bit better, or the button layout is a little bit better? And we're getting into some of that kind of stuff, having so many options that it's tough to like test all of them. But yeah, there's that. What is it like being considered the god of radar detectors? I don't think of myself as that way. I'm just a guy who loves learning about this stuff and then pointing cameras at myself and talking into them. I'm just wanting to learn and understand and share. I don't even think of myself as an expert or any of that kind of stuff. I'm just a guy who's wanting to learn and share because it's fun for me. And clearly you guys are enjoying it too. So it's more just, I'm here for the fun of it. I don't care about being seen as like an expert or any of that kind of stuff. I just want to learn and have fun with this. That's ultimately what I'm trying to accomplish here. So I don't actually want to be famous. I'm kind of an introvert, that kind of stuff. I don't want like all this crazy stuff. Like, I don't know. I just love playing with my toys and giving to you guys and learning and sharing. That's actually what my interest is with all this. So yeah. Dennis Padini, what are your feelings on the new 360 video dash cams? It's cool. This has been a really popular request, and I'm seeing more and more of these. So there's all sorts of different styles. You've got the Wayland's Secure 360. which is like a 360-degree one. You've got, in my car, I have the ThinkWare FA200 IRC, which is like 2 cameras, front and rear. Vantru is doing that. Some of them have integrated front and rear into one camera. So there's more and more of this kind of stuff. Personally, I'm not super big into like, I don't know, I feel a little weird having a camera pointed at me when I'm driving. It makes me kind of self-conscious or something, which can be good to like, it encourages you to not maybe be distracted and you're playing your cell phone and stuff. But I don't really like having a camera pointed at myself. But though I know it's really helpful, some people really like it to maybe record your kids with their driving, or if you're an Uber or Lyft driver, you really want that extra recording stuff. So one of the things I'm seeing, so I guess another point, the Owl Cam versus the Raven Cam, 2 differences that I saw. The Owl Cam doesn't use infrared light. And so when you're driving around, I was reading reviews about this, at night, you can't actually see into the cabin. It only lights up with like normal visible light when there's a break-in or something. But otherwise, if you're driving around at night, you can't actually see what's going on inside the car, versus some cameras like the ThinkWare that I'm driving with now, or the Raven, they actually have infrared LEDs that shoot into the cabin and light up the cabin when you're driving. And so that way, even inside the car at night, you're still going to be able to see what's going on. So if you're a Lyft driver, again, your passengers, you can record them, all that kind of stuff. So I think that's a nice feature that, little things like that are kind of some of the stuff that I'm seeing separate the cameras. And then, we can get into, do you want one camera with front and rear integrated, or do you want separate ones? And you've got more options as far as placement with where you put the rear camera, depending on what's best for your car, There's still a bunch of options. But yeah. So I don't know. Still, I guess something I'm playing with. I don't know all the best ones, but those are kind of some of the things that I've been seeing so far. Notice pre-orders. So yes, the waiting list on best radar detectors is actually no longer available. It was for a while, but I guess we're too far away and Uniden didn't want them doing a waiting list yet or something. And so the waiting list, if you guys are on the waiting list, you're already on the waiting list, don't worry, but it's been taken down for the time being. And then once he's able to put it back up, I'm sure he will. Yeah. Let's see, Mike T. Will the R7 be able to display the posted speed limit? Great question. No. The way that feature actually works, the database is not built into the detector. It's something that you have to go out to the internet and access, at least with the Escort detectors. All the speed limit information, it's in the cloud. So with all the roads and what the limits are as they change, that kind of stuff. So the only way that feature works is you have to run the detector, and you have to either, Max 360C connected to Escort Live with Wi-Fi, or connected to your phone with Bluetooth. When you're connected, the speed limit feature will turn on and work. If you're not running it with the cloud, you don't get the speed limit feature. And with the R7, because there is no cloud connected type functionality in the first place, they're not going to be able to do the same thing that Escort is doing. Now, they could, in theory, be able to just load all that stuff in, just like a red light camera database. It's a lot more information, but they could do it. So it is possible. It just would have to do it different than how Escort is doing it. But I haven't seen anything as far as going ahead and doing that and putting it in there. So to answer your question, the short version, no, it's not currently going to have that functionality to display a speed limit, even though it's helpful. So, something fun. K-Mar-K, what are the long-term, plans for this channel? Being able to expand content and viewers while staying relevant to original viewer base can be tricky. Yeah, so funny. I started with radar detectors, right? Vortex radar. And then, of course, I also cover laser jammer. So those are the 2 focuses. And then I was like, I kind of want to expand what I'm doing and get into dash cams as well. I'm finding that that's actually tougher because there's so many other options, and I love radar detectors. Dash cams, honestly, I'm just kind of they're cool. I found a good one. I'm happy with. It's fine. I want to go back to focusing on radar detectors, and I don't want to get super hardcore into dash cams, especially with there being so many, and it's tough to stay on top of everything. And so I'm focused more on radar detectors, but I do dash cams. Now I've thought about kind of expanding as well. One thing that I want to do is I built a NAS for my home to store all my videos and stuff. And, when we bought the house, it was a new construction, so I was able to get all the wiring done and security cameras. And I'd like to do a video kind of talking about some of the behind the scenes stuff that I have here at home, security cameras and network attached storage and all this kind of stuff, the NAS, which is a little bit outside of what I cover in my channel. But I've been thinking about that I've been going at this for a couple years now, and I just crossed 40,000 subscribers. So yay, I'm really excited about that. But I also look at, people who have hundreds of thousands or millions of subscribers. Is it really feasible for me to grow my channel with such a kind of small niche to something that could be huge? I don't necessarily know. Would that require me to expand into more and more stuff? Potentially, yeah. But I don't know if that's something I would necessarily want to do. So it is an idea that I've been playing with. And I think at the end of the day, I want to definitely stay focused on radar detectors. And if I do some extra stuff, it'll be bonus. Like the CES video that I did. Here's a fun bonus video of just other cool stuff that's available, you know? But it's not, I think, going to so much be like the focus of my channel. It'll just be kind of fun side stuff here and there, you know? Let's see. Justin, has the R7 been tested for leakage and detectability? So no, none of us have tested the R7 or anything. But from what we've been saying, or what Uniden has been telling us, the range should be, well, when we were beta testing, one of the reasons that it took a little while, well, not when they were doing it, the R7 didn't have the range of the R3 initially, and they had to work on that because it was not R3 level range. Now what we're being told is, yeah, the range should be comparable to the R3 plus made a little change to the plastic condenser lens back here. So it should have slightly more sensitivity, 1 dB. So what they're telling us is it should have comparable, if not slightly better range. And it should still be stealth to the Spectre, despite the fact that they've added a rear antenna. Have I tested that? Nope, but that's what they told me. So that's what I'm sharing with you guys. And of course, once it comes out, once we get one here, I picked up a Spectre 3 on eBay. I want to see if I can get another Elite and do like a comparison of the Spectre 3 versus Spectre Elite. And again, just kind of like behind the scenes stuff, you know, but yeah, I want to, of course, test that stuff out. Let's verify, is it still RDD immune? So yeah. But that's the story on all that. Any radar detectors pick up signals from behind you? Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, even radar detectors without arrows can still pick up signals behind you. It just can't tell you the direction. A rear antenna, of course, is going to help it pick up signals farther back behind you, but any of these detectors, even without arrows, can still pick up signals behind you. Really, the main benefit is just for the detector to know if the signal is stronger ahead or behind, and then thus light up the front or the rear antenna or arrows to let you know where the signal is. So, Dastardly Dave, is Uniden working on BSM filtering? I'm sure they are, but there's still no updates at this time for Hondas and Acuras. That's, I think, probably one of the biggest things that people are wanting is please, me too, please give the R series better BSM filtering. For the longest time, it was like, well, Hondas and Acuras are tough to filter out, but then Radenso can do it. And now it seems like Escort is able to filter some of them out too. And Uniden is like, come on, guys, this detector was great when it first came out, beating the red line, all this kind of stuff, you know, but things continue to evolve. And now the competition is starting to surpass you guys in some areas. And so that's the tech world in general, right? You have to continue updating and moving forward. Can't stay stagnant with this stuff. So yeah, avoiding the Radenso questions. Yeah, the update will be tomorrow, or the announcement. So whatever their announcement is, we'll find out tomorrow. So yeah, there's not really anything, I guess, to say with the Radenso stuff. I'm not avoiding them. It's just, that's their announcement. We'll see what they say tomorrow, you know? Oh, hey, Randy's here. Hey, what's up, Randy? We'll be making the announcement tomorrow. You can either keep your eyes peeled on the Radenso section of RDF, or you can subscribe to our YouTube channel to get notified. Yeah, so do that. Yeah, pay attention to the forum. Once they do that, something cool, I can do a video too, just being like, hey, go check out Radenso. Here's what they have to say, you know? So, yeah, whatever their announcement is, probably be awesome. Let's see. Predicting the R7 is just teasing us with the BSM filtering. I know they'll surprise us. That would be great. Yeah, maybe. They haven't told me anything. I'm not hiding it from you guys. I wish it was better. If it was, I would definitely tell you guys. But yeah, maybe they are teasing us. Who knows? Edit Voyager. What's the best setting to use in everyday driving for city and highway? City, Auto City. Oh, yeah, Auto City. If you're using the Radensos, I like the Auto City. Full sensitivity automatically at high speeds when you're on the highway, and in the city, it'll automatically back down the sensitivity for you. So I like Auto City. Does a great job of giving you max performance when you need it, and then also keeping it extra quiet in town. So it's funny. I know Radenso and John and Randy, you guys have been talking about on the forum. It's like, just leave it like that, you know? The default settings that Radenso gives are really, really good. Maybe you want to change a few things like the low speed muting threshold points or whatever, you know, but yeah, the default settings that they give you are actually really good. I really like that Radenso's taken the time to make, you know, even for them, things is out of the box as easy as possible for people. So, by the way, thank you, Randy. I know you're watching. Thanks for doing that. That was a good move. Let's see. Any radar detector coming out with a concealed display like the V1? Good question, Chad. Yeah, I wish it was a great feature. I used to run the V1 a lot, and I had the concealed display, and I had it custom converted with different color LEDs and stuff, and I love the feature. It was nice to keep the detector in dark mode, and just to have the concealed display right in your field of view, so you can stay focused on the road, and the radar detector is kind of like right there, and I love that feature. I haven't seen anybody else doing that. I think it would be great. People always argue, well, you don't need that because you can just put it on your cell phone, and your phone can display the alerts, which is true, but I still really liked having the concealed display. It was still cool, and yeah, there's other things we can talk about that too. So yes, they did talk about this. Omer Syed, hopefully I'm pronouncing your name properly. I apologize if I didn't. Hey, Vortex, did Uniden mention how sensitive the rear horn on the R7 will be? Yes. So it is going to be less sensitive than the front horn of the R3 or of the R7, which is also the case for all these other ones. If you look at any of the detectors with antennas, usually, or with arrows, this horn is going to be bigger, right? You have like all this space here to put the primary antenna, but the small one is just this little one right there. So it's smaller, and the bigger antenna is just going to be able to hear signals better. And so usually the rear antenna is smaller and it's going to have less range. And so when they're actually designing the arrows, they have to compensate for that, because if the front antenna is more sensitive, right, it's going to be able to pick up signals far away. So if the front and rear antennas have equal strength, that probably a signal behind you, because the rear antenna, if it's less sensitive, right? I don't know if I'm explaining that well, but like if it's equal sensitivity front and rear, because the front antenna is more sensitive, it'll actually be stronger in the front, even if it's equal front and rear. So they have to kind of like compensate for the fact that the antennas had different sensitivity. So that's kind of some of the behind the scenes stuff they have to work on to make sure the arrows are accurate and stuff. But I guess without getting too far into the weeds, yes, the rear antenna is going to be less sensitive on the R7, just like with all the other detectors. Justin Long, do you have an updated map for your blog post about radar and laser guns used? Good question. Yeah, so that has to do with the RDFGS. That has been down for a while, but it's finally back up. We can now view it. I don't know if we can edit it yet. I'm not totally sure, but that's been down for a while. It's just now coming back up. If you notice RDF, the forum, right now it's being loaded in with brand new software like Zen 402. So there's new software that's being loaded in. They need to customize the theme and add all the new features and stuff. So there's a lot of stuff being done. And one of the things is also updating the RDFGS, that kind of user-generated database of all the different radar guns and laser guns used in the area. And yeah, that is still something that needs to be updated, but it hasn't been updatable for a while. Let's see. Yeah, me is my name. Intermediate plus editing was at least available. I think so. Yeah, but it still needs work, to be honest. It just needs a lot of people going in and like continuing to update it. So at least it's starting to come back online now. But yeah, it's been down and kind of unfortunate, because I know a lot of you guys really want that, and me too. So it's still a work in progress, I guess. Let's see. That's funny. It's $100 ride, Uber ride across your forehead. Yeah, huge forehead. Funny. Never heard that comment before. Okay, whatever. Let's see. Are you going to do a video on R3 1.48 versus 1.46 firmware? Yes, of course. So I talked about that at the very beginning. I'm going to do a video on that. I already have the information up on my website, so you can take a look. I want to finish CES videos, and then I want to do videos on R3 1.48, the new Max 360 firmware, tutorials on how to set up the Pro M. So, some of the next videos that I want to work on, especially as I finish the, what's it called? Some of the last CES videos. So, yeah, that's actually some of the things to come up. But if you already want the information on the firmware update, just hop onto my website, and I've got all the information there, which I'm then just going to pretty much take that and turn it into a video. But the information's already on my website if you want to take a look. I did that last night or something. So, yeah. Alrighty. 1 second. Boop. Is it possible for the DFR8 to detect both X and K bands, but not KA? What do you mean, Timothy? Yeah, it can detect X and K and KA. If you wanted to, you could, of course, disable KA band. I think maybe if you're in like Pennsylvania or something and they don't use KA, you could always turn it off. That's an option. Just go into the settings and, do whatever you want. So it's all there. Kaiser 911. Do you think the Uniden will push a firmware update from the R3 to go from 5 to 8 alert bars to mirror the R7? Oh, good question. That would be cool. I don't think so. I haven't heard anything about that. They could. They could. I haven't heard anything. That's always one of the tough things about like the future stuff, you know. I'm not Uniden. I'm not in control of that stuff. And you guys have lots of great ideas. And you can always, of course, post on the forums. They monitor that kind of stuff. And if you have really cool ideas, just post it there. And they'll take a look at it, you know, and good ideas, they'll implement them. So when you guys have great ideas like that, post them on the forums and they'll take a look. So, yeah. There's, I think, a thread in the Uniden section. It's funny. People are already making suggestions for like the R7, new features that they want. And there's also one going on for the R3 of commonly requested features. So you can go in and add that too. Who's a better, okay, Marin Uchka, cool name. Who's better detector, Max 360 or R3? Very different detectors. Very different detectors. Depends on what you want. I mentioned this at the beginning of the video. Like I've been running the Max 360 recently just to test the new firmware for the lockup issues, and I've really been liking it. I had a 34/7 encounter the other day, plenty of range. The BSM filtering is better than the R3. It's got arrows, it's got auto lockouts, it's got Bluetooth, it's got a speed limit display, it's got tons of really cool features that I really like, you know? And if it's truly resolving the lockup issues, it's making the detectors more reliable, great, you know? I'm happy to see that. So it's making a better argument for it being like one of the best radar detectors out there. And there's a lot of things. And again, you guys have been asking constantly, BSM filtering updates. Can we get it for the R3? Escort's been doing a better job in this area of keeping their detectors up to date, you know? Uniden, that is something they need to work on. Of course, they're coming out with the R7, which is going to add arrows and auto lockouts and an auto dimming display and all this kind of stuff, you know? So of course they're continuing to update things too, but there's a case to be made for the Escort and there's a case to be made for the Uniden, and there's not a clear, definitive answer to which one is the best, because a lot of it kind of depends on what's more important to you as opposed to which one is objectively the best, if that makes sense. So yeah. Is an RDFGS available for Canada? Justin Long. There is one. Search the forums. There is one, and it's not the same like fancy database kind of thing. It's just a big post basically of like what frequencies and bands and stuff are used in the different provinces, but it's an old one from years ago, but it's still there. If you just search like RDFGS Canada, you'll find the post on the forums. So notice, buy an R3 now and get a stable platform. Oh, thanks for the link. Me is my name. Yeah, okay, the link to the RDFGS in Canada, me as my name, has it posted in the group chat. So buy an R3 now and get a stable platform, or wait for the R7 and get something that might not be 100% when released. It's true. A lot of times when stuff launches, it's not 100% and stuff needs to get work done. We've seen that many times. Luckily, a lot of stuff with the R7, it's based on the R3, so they can take a lot of the refinements that they've made on the R3 and bring it over to the R7. It doesn't mean the R7 is going to be perfect, and realistically, we're probably going to find some stuff that needs to be improved when the detector first launches. You know, that's pretty typical for this kind of stuff. And so we've seen it with Unidens, we've seen it with everything, you know? So it's true that it's probably not going to be 100% when it first launches, but I know a lot of people are going to be super excited and want to get one anyway. I want to get one. I'm sure a lot of you guys do too. So yeah. Yeah. But he's still chewing his bone down there and having a good time. Let's see. Sorry. Ideas for the Android and iPhone app. The answer 1.51. Yeah, so that's cool. And by the way, I just wanted to say thank you guys. Your suggestions here and your comments, it's a lot of fun. There was the one guy there that I had to throw out because, you know, there's always that stuff. This is the internet, but it's really fun for me when like, this is just cool. We get to chat about stuff. You guys have great ideas. I've got ideas. Hopefully some of them are good. I don't know. And we just get to like chat about countermeasures and it's fun, you know? So thanks for just hanging out here with me on a Sunday morning or probably afternoon for you guys, depending on what time zone you're in, and just hanging out. It's fun. So yeah. El Gonzalez will upgrade to the R7, but not when it first comes out. Wait 6 to 12 months. Cool. Oh, that's an interesting question. Kaiser 911. Do you think BSM filtering is kind of a side project due to auto manufacturers having to switch to side frequencies to 77 gigahertz? I don't, because that is one of the biggest requests that people have and they've wanted for years, is to fix the BSM filtering stuff. And even in a couple of years, once auto manufacturers are switching to 77 gigahertz, we're still going to have tons of cars on the market that are still using K-band. So it's not like the feature is going to go away, you know, or the issue is going to go away. It's still going to be an issue. So I really want them to work on it. And it's one of the biggest complaints about radar detectors is, why do they false all the time when there's no police around, you know? Especially for non-enthusiasts that aren't into this. Like my wife on her detector, I just turned K-band off completely just so it doesn't do that, you know? Yeah, it's a request. I think a lot of it is just either difficulties, like John on Radenso, somebody asked about this on the forums and he had a good response, kind of explaining some of the behind the scenes of the manufacturer's perspective, if you want to search that. But it was things like it can be technically difficult to do. They have to record all that footage. They got to program it. They need to make sure they have good engineers who can do that. Some companies have this stuff like outsourced, and the people overseas don't really know all the stuff going on here for the US market. Like there's all these kind of difficulties behind the scenes that they would want to, of course, I want them to, you guys want to, but sometimes it's difficult to do for a variety of different reasons. Some of them are technical, some of them other reasons, but yeah, I think everybody wants to do it, but it's sometimes harder than you would think, I guess, for a variety of reasons. So let's see, trouble filtering the BSMs without filtering a legit signal. Yeah, you want to make sure you do it properly. You know, we've got newer filtering, but we want to make sure it's not blocking or, you know, filtering out police guns. Let's see, testing the R7. Still planning on doing a Cell-Link Neo versus B124. Yes, so I actually shot that video, another video that I still need to do. I'm sitting here live streaming, so I can't get the videos up. But one of them, when I went to Canada with Alex, a black box in my car, we did like 5 different videos or so. I've only posted one, which is the best radar detectors video, but one of them that we did was like really in depth into batteries. And we go really into Cell-Link Neo, Cell-Link B, the companies, eGen, manufacturing, a lot of the stuff behind the scenes. We go into a lot more of that, and that's a video that I want to do too. And it's just literally sitting on my computer right now, and it's just another video that I need to get to editing and get posted. And so, yeah, I plan on doing that video. There's so much stuff that I've done on batteries. Like, yeah, and I love them. I don't know, it's so much fun. I guess that's why I keep doing videos on batteries. But yes, I definitely plan on doing it. And it's just a matter of, I guess, Brian getting that video edited and up online. So it's on the list. I assure you. Just need to get it edited and posted. Yeah, you guys are welcome. That's an interesting question. Okay. Omer is wondering about X, K, and KA band. If they differ in terms of performance or range that they provide to the officer. There's a couple ways of saying that, because like as the radar guns get newer, they typically have better performance. Maybe they're like same lane moving mode stuff gets better on the newer guns, which is separate from the frequencies. But one of the things that we could talk about is K-band. That frequency range tends to have more, well, I don't know if I want to go into this. Okay, quick. It's not going to actually be that big of an issue, but since we've kind of got down this roll. K-band. The atmosphere actually absorbs K-band microwave radio. And that's one of the reasons why we have Ka and Ku, K above and K under. Cool. It's the German word for K, short frequency. Anyway, without going too much into that, yes, Ka band, one of the reasons it was created is it doesn't have the same level of humidity and water vapor in the air absorbing the radar and blocking the radar signals from going super far away. The reason I say that's not a big deal is we're not talking about like hundreds of miles of trying to, you know, transmit radar. They're looking at a couple hundred feet, maybe 1,000 feet, that kind of stuff. It's pretty close range. So that even in the rain, like we have K-band here in Seattle when it rains and it's fine, you know, so it's not a huge deal. But there's not really, I guess, a big deal between X, K, and Ka. One of the biggest things is the smaller antennas are nice for police officers. Higher frequency, smaller antenna. They take up less room on the dash. So it's more of that kind of stuff, I think, than it is performance stuff. Yeah, so there are some, but it's not really that big of a deal, I guess. So the short answer. Cobra. Not really anything super exciting about the Cobras. There was the one DSP 9200 BT, the detector. That was a surprisingly good detector. It was like $200 or so. Surprisingly good performance. It wasn't, it didn't leak, I don't believe. But yeah, that detector has been discontinued, and
yeah, so there's not really anything all that exciting from Cobra, except for the fact that they now have iRadar and they can integrate with Escort Live and iRadar. So there's that. But the detectors themselves, there's nothing super exciting about them. So thank you. Need help editing? Yeah, I guess one of the biggest things would be like transmitting, if you were to help. Oh, by the way, yeah, so that would be nice to have somebody help me edit these videos. I'm just behind with like shooting new stuff. I need to get the editing done and interviews and stuff. So there's so many things that I still want to get out to you guys. And yeah, it would be awesome to like have somebody help me with this editing stuff. And I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm like, that would be pretty helpful, I think it would be better to have somebody who is here locally. I've got another desk over here or something off camera. That way everything's like plugged in locally and we can all, work on video stuff and work on stuff together, as opposed to like getting stuff sent out over the internet. My upload here is I think like 12 megabit or something. It's pretty slow. So it takes me a while to upload videos. And so trying to like constantly send stuff over the internet would kind of suck. So local would be easier, but that's, I guess, something down the line. So thank you, by the way, for the offer to help me edit videos. That would definitely be helpful. Oh, by the way, if anybody got these RDF coffee mugs, these are amazing. They've pretty much replaced like all my other coffee mugs. The size and everything is awesome. And I can pour like a whole little pot of coffee in here and just drink it. It's great. Room and board for intern. Vortex taking applications. Yeah, it's like, I don't know. And that's also another thing I've been thinking. Should I do it here at home? Should I go get an office? It's kind of nice working from home, but I don't know if I would necessarily want all the stuff here at home. It might be better to get an office, but then I have to pay for an office and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Link for the mugs. It was actually something on the forums. I think they're sold out at this point. There's no more available, but that was just a thing that was it maybe 2 months ago, something like that. They'd posted, it was the second time we did the mugs and stuff, and they've been really good. I'm sure a number of you guys have some as well, but yeah, I wish we could still buy them because they're really good. So office stuff on sale. LRD950, gifted it to my dad. Yeah, the LRD950, that was a great detector. I mean, surprisingly inexpensive, had GPS lockouts. It had a BSM filter that didn't affect range. Back in the day, this was like able to compete with detectors that cost $400, and it came out at what, like $250 or $200 or something like that, $300. Yeah, these things. RTIC brand, whatever these guys are. You can get one that doesn't have this thing, but that brand is good for the mugs. Anyway, the LRD950, it was like the first detector that could filter out BSMs and have the K-band filter without impacting range. And I remember we were testing, I think it was Me Is My Name, he and I were testing at the time. And I was running some tests and I'm like, why is it that I can enable the K-band filter on the LRD950 and I'm not losing range the way I am with the V1 and the Redline and the Max 2? I swear I thought something was wrong, like it messed up or something, but no, we retested and we're like, dude, this LRD950 is able to have the K-band filter enabled and not lose range. That was amazing. Since then, there's been some updates to where like, the R3 can do that. The new Escorts, like the Max series detectors, I don't think you can even turn off the BSM filtering. They just leave it on all the time, but it's supposed to give good range without that. So other manufacturers have now started to catch up and do this stuff too. But yeah, that was really cool with the LRD950. It was a surprisingly good detector. And then, yeah. So anyway, good detector. Fun to reminisce on that one a little bit, but long gone. LRD950 replaced by the DFR7, which is now being discontinued and replaced by the DFR9. So, yay. Do you think W-band will be a concern? Nope. There's already non-K-band BSM for radar, and it's been fine. The only issues I've seen with non-K-band radar are things like with the Teslas that have like the self-driving stuff. If you have like a remote antenna and you put it right next to the radar sensors, like a Max CI or something, because it's so close, the harmonics can cause Ka falses on the detector. And so with the Teslas, they had to enable Ka band segmentation to filter out like 35.9 Ka falses that were harmonics from the built-in non-K band self-driving radar stuff. But for other cars nearby, a lot of the stuff is already available, which is why we're able to see like radar detectors that aren't having falses from a lot of these cars. So I'm actually really glad that they're moving away from K-band to 76, 77 gigahertz because, yeah, that is not going to false our radar detectors. I mean, there's a ton of radio stuff out there that doesn't cause our detectors to false. There's a ton of stuff out there. And, yeah, these higher frequency blind spot monitors, self-driving stuff, should be just fine. So yay. Do ALPs ever go on sale? I don't think I've ever seen them on sale, like ever. Discounts for the holidays or Black Friday or anything. I just remember the price going up once. Like when I bought mine, it was shortly before I got my Miata. And they were actually going to raise the price of the ALPs. So I bought them at the lower price, and they sat around for like a few months or so until I got the Miata, just so I can get them at the lower price. But yeah, I don't really see discounts on the ALPs. Would be nice, but I don't typically see them. So, hey, buddy, you done playing with your toy? Having fun? You want to lick my hand? Hopefully not too noisy on the microphone. Matt, do you own all the radar detectors you review? Yeah, at this point, yeah, I own them. The only ones that I don't technically own are the Stingers. They sent me that one. I've had them for a couple of years now. And in part of the thing, when they sent it to me, they're like, well, we want to maintain ownership. So they could ask for it back at any time. So I don't own that one technically, but I still have it on my car. And there really hasn't been any news from them. So I still got it there. Hopefully maybe they'll put out an update and I can retest it or something. That's what I'm hoping for, but that's the only one that I don't own. Everything else, yeah. Updates on the SUV, not really, just because I've been busy with CES. I still really want to get all these videos done. And then once I finish that, then I'm like, okay, let's go devote a day to, sorry for the camera shaking. It was my dog jumping off my lap. Yeah, then I will have a little bit more time to go out and look at new SUV stuff, but not really any updates right now, just because I've been busy with CES. What radar detector do you run personally? I switch between the R3, the RCM, and the Max 360 and 360C. I switch between those depending on what I need. The R3, just I like it. Good detector. When I forget to grab a radar detector, the RCM, I can always just turn it on. Hey, buddy, see his reflection. He's sitting back there. Somebody's coming. So I'll run that one. And let's see. Okay. Yeah, we're still going. Yeah. Sorry, still going.
Oh, what time are you?
Decent home. I can finish up if you need.
Lunch.
Okay, lunchtime.
Purple Cafe, Bellevue.
Cool.
12:30 or 1?
Yeah, maybe 12:30.
Okay.
Cool. Yay. So we're discussing stuff. We're got lunch with a friend after this, so we're figuring out logistics for all that kind of stuff. But in the meantime, I'm just kind of hanging out. So let's see, 12:30. I got a little bit more time I can hang out here with you guys, but yeah. Documentary. Ooh, I don't know if I'd want a documentary about me. You guys get to see all this stuff. I mean, that's what I'm doing. I'm just hanging out here chatting and playing with my dog and making videos and all that stuff. Yeah. Let's see. So that's the SUV stuff. Humidity absorbs radar. At night, pretty hard to... I don't know. I think nighttime, sometimes it's even easier to aim a laser gun. The cars, the bright headlights are big, like, shoot me targets, you know? So it's really easy. Just boom, shoot the headlights. They're beautiful targets. So you see laser all the time, even at night. Let's see. KA falses, the Max 360C. Do you know what frequency, EB1970, you're seeing? With the Max 360C, you can enable segmentation and turn off certain frequencies if you're seeing KA falses. Usually they'll be from things like satellite dishes that also operate on KA band and can cause falses. So you can always drive with my lights off at night. Yeah, that's the solution. Yeah, you can try segmentation, and if that's not going to help because of some of the, if the frequency just happens to like it's on 2 or 5 or 8 or something, kind of out of luck. And yeah, usually those sources might be something like a satellite dish on a house or something. That seems to be a pretty common one. There are some speed signs that operate on KA. And then I think sometimes there's like things near airports, but those are usually laser sources. So in my neighborhood, it's 33.7. I think those are, yeah, like Dish Network satellite dishes. And that's actually one of the reasons why KA band lockouts can be helpful. Escort is pretty against giving us that feature because it's so risky to lock out KA. But for that reason, some manufacturers like Uniden, for example, they have driving by one house. Okay, yeah, it's a satellite dish. If you get that false all the time, just either ignore it and hopefully don't run Escort live when you're doing that so you don't keep dropping the falses into the cloud. But yeah, there's no KA falses, so there's really not a ton you can do about it, unfortunately. But that's why you're seeing it, I guess. So yeah, K-band. That's a good question. Does turning off K-band on the R1 or R3 also turn off MRCD? I don't think so. I think it's a separate thing, but I don't have MRCD around here. Have to check with somebody else. but I think MRCD can be on with K-band off. So, but maybe ask on the forums, ask somebody like up in Edmonton, they can always try it. The MRCD stuff, usually it's best to like ask somebody who sees that and could just go run out next door because MRCD is everywhere and just go out and drive and try it and see if you get the alert. But I think it should still be able to alert to MRCD even with K-band off, but that's just my guess. So, yeah. Logan, thank you, Logan. Why are remote detectors so much more expensive? That's a great question, and I've wondered about that too. I think a lot of it just comes down to supply and demand, to be honest. Like, it's so much more involved to install a remote detector, and there's going to be, it's just tougher. Even if they were the same price, a lot more people are going to get the windshield mounts just because it's so easy to just throw it on the windshield and plug into the cigarette lighter and done, Remotes, you've got custom installed, you got to pay a professional or do it yourself or run cables or drill holes. And there's a lot more work that's involved. And just naturally, people are going to be installing fewer of them. And so if a company is going to spend the time to develop stuff and build it and do all this stuff, they're just going to sell fewer units. And so if they're going to sell fewer units, they have to charge more to make up for the cost to make it profitable, So I honestly think that's the biggest thing. It's just people, they're going to sell a lot fewer of those. And so they have to kind of raise the price up just to make it profitable. So I think it has to do more with that. But otherwise, I mean, they're so similar as far as features and stuff. It's just structurally, they're a little different. But that's my best guess as to why they're expensive. And they're surprisingly, I mean, the Pro M, it's what, $450? What's the RCM? Like 1600 or something? 17, somewhere in that range. If you had the rear one, I think you're closer to like 19 something. I'd have to look it up, but it's a pretty substantial difference, What's up, Omar? Take care. Thanks. 1849. Yeah. You can get like multiple Pro M's for the cost of one RCM. Yeah, it's weird. It does cost quite a bit more. Maybe Randy, if you're still here, you could comment on that as well. I don't know. I've been wondering. Let's see. J Pavilion 2, I would donate, but my account's being dumb. Any PayPal? Yeah, you can donate Vortex at vortexradar.com. Thank you. Or Patreon. You can sign up for that as well. So yeah, all sorts of ways if you guys want to contribute. Thank you, by the way. I appreciate it. It helps me keep doing this. So let's see. Landy Cleaver. Good morning from the West Coast. What's up? What are your results for testing different windshields that have UV film or factory aftermarket? I did a video about that. It's called like, does tint affect a radar detector or those dots, the Fritz? It varies depending on what type you have. Like metallic tints are usually the ones that are no bueno, but like ceramic ones are okay. So it really depends. And some car manufacturers, like with heated windshields or luxury cars, they'll have like a little cutout on the windshield somewhere for anything that needs to communicate. So like a GPS antenna, or a GPS receiver or a toll pass or a radar detector. Usually there's a cutout for that kind of thing where you could put a radar detector there. And that's usually done when there's something that blocks the signal. Otherwise you have to go for like a custom installed detector. But yeah, I've got a video on that. You can search my channel, get some information about that. But yeah. Sania, what car do you recommend right now? I like cars. I've got my favorites, but I'm not a car reviewer or a recommender. That's probably an even harder question than what's the best radar detector, because that varies so much. So like even way more than radar detectors. So I always find it kind of funny when people are like, oh, this is the best car. It's the best SUV. It's the best truck. And I'm like, man, that's got to be even harder to do than coming up with the best radar detector. The Model 3 J Pavilion. Yeah. I mean, if you look at the front of that, there's like nowhere to put your countermeasures. Like super low, you can mount the laser jammers, but they're nowhere near the heads. There's no like middle central grill area. Radar detectors, to put remotes in there would be really tough. Like that actually seems like a really tough car to install on, but it looks like I'd love to have one. We're starting to see more and more of this around here. I'm sure you're seeing more of them around there too. So yeah. Tint is pigmented, which is non-metallic. Cool. Converted me from Escort to Uniden because of your reviews. Thank you. You're welcome. Yeah, I'm glad you found something that works for you. I'm glad to see Escort continue to get better and better, and I really want them to do well. I still think they've got a lot of great things going for them, but sure, competition, it's heating up for everybody. So Radenso's got some good stuff. Uniden does. Valentine does. Escort does. Yeah. Logan, are you considering the Jeep Grand Cherokee? No, because of the grill slats, like the newer ones that I'm seeing, the 7, like the middle grill area, usually there's a mesh thing there for all of them. So there's no easy way to install laser jammers without cutting the grill. The newest ones I was looking at, there's kind of mesh everywhere. So there's not a good spot to like stick in a bunch of different jammers, Escort and ALP and TMG, and then also a bunch of different remote radar detectors. I need something where I can install way too much gear in my car. And I need something where, it's going to make it pretty easy for me to swap systems in and out, and the Jeep Grand Cherokee, the grill doesn't really make that too easy for me unless I want to do a lot of custom cutting grills, and I'm not that great at that sort of stuff. So I want something that makes it easier for me. So that's actually the main reason I've been ruling out that one and many other ones. So, but man, I've been looking at them, and a lot of them have grills that make it tough. So that's kind of limiting my selection for that. But cutting into grills affects the resale value. Yeah, unless you want to go get another grill on eBay for a few $100 and throw it in afterwards. But yeah, it definitely does affect stuff. Okay, I probably got to head out here in a couple minutes, kind of go get ready, go grab lunch with people. It should be fun. Bought an R3, tried it, worked okay, and updated it. Now it's not working well. Can you give me some more information, Rod, about what you mean by it's not working well? Is it like having issues detecting radar? Is it not powering on properly? Is the display funky? Like what kind of issue are you seeing? Or yeah, also let me know if your update like went through properly. Sometimes if the update fails, you can check the box for like recovering or doing the recovery thing. Not picking up radar. Do you mean like you pass a police officer and it doesn't go off, or like there's a speed sign that you would pass before and now it's not detecting it, or what? So we see that. And also, I guess one other thing to make sure is anytime you update your detectors, Uniden always recommends, yeah, and Mean is my name, he's on it too. Make sure you do a factory reset and change your settings. Let's see. Passing a police officer. So remember, Rod, one of the most common things, these are not police car detectors. They are not. There's a lot of cop cars that you'll pass, and these things are not going to go off to. They're radar detectors. And so if the cop doesn't have a radar gun in his car, if it's turned off, whatever the case may be, there's many situations where your radar detector won't alert just because you passed a police officer. So that's super common. It's one of the most common reasons that people return a radar detector, honestly, is they think it's supposed to pass or it's supposed to alert with every cop. It's super, super common. So it doesn't mean anything is wrong. But I know it's a super common concern, which is why you guys are, saying, Walmarts and Home Depots and that kind of stuff, automatic door openers, just make sure it still alerts to that kind of stuff. He was out of the car with the system in hand. It's probably laser. Okay, let's talk about this. Radar guns and laser guns. Let's do a quick intro on this. So if he's out of the car, Jay Pavilion, thanks. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. Radar guns, when he's operating it, there are handheld guns like this. It's a radar gun like this. It's not going to transmit until he pulls the trigger. With handheld radar guns, he's going to be holding it like this. With laser guns, he needs to actually look through the viewfinder right here and point it at a car, and he's going to be holding it more like this. And with laser, that's going to be really tough for a radar detector to pick up, any one of them. And so he can shoot you with this, and your radar detector may not go off at all, especially the R3, which doesn't have great laser sensitivity. Even the ones that have better laser sensitivity, it can still be a struggle sometimes. So yes, if he's shooting laser, it's very common for your radar detector to not alert. If he's shooting radar, it's not going to alert until he pulls the trigger. So maybe I guess just something to be aware of regarding the whole thing of I passed a cop and he was holding something and it didn't alert. A couple kind of behind the scenes things on operationally and all that, on how that works. But yeah, cool. So hopefully that answers your question. I guess one of the biggest things, of course, is like people are saying, yeah, it wasn't laser. Download the update. Hey, dog's coming back. Yeah, what's up, buddy? Where'd you go? Oh, your bone was still here under my desk, was it? Liking it? Thanks for all the useful information. You're welcome. Yeah, cool. All right, well, I'm off to go have lunch with friends. I'm going to play with my doggy here a little bit. We're going to take him for a walk before we head out. So thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. I'm glad you guys tuned in. Thanks for hanging out with me. Hope you guys have an awesome weekend. We've got more videos to keep on working on after this. And yeah. All right. What's up, Steve? All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a awesome weekend. See you guys.